Where will the dwelling of the sinners be, and where the resting place of those who have denied the Lord of spirits? "23 centuries ago, a prophet named Enoch asked the question that every generation has whispered in the dark. When the powerful fall, and they always fall, what replaces them? Tonight we trace a thread that runs through 5 prophets, 3 languages, and 1 stone with 7 eyes. A thread that connects the weakening of nations to the rise of something the Hebrew Bible calls the Segullah, God's treasured possession. First, Enoch, chapter 38 opens the book of parables, the most mysterious section of the Enochic literature. It is the only portion of Enoch absent from the Dead Sea Scrolls. Scholars believe it circulated in separate communities, preserved only in the Ethiopian Orthodox tradition. Verse 3 delivers the thesis in a single sentence: "When the secrets of the righteous shall be revealed and the sinners judged, and the godless driven from the presence of the righteous and elect." 4 Enoch 38:3. And then verses 4 and 5, the political consequence. "From that time those that possess the earth shall no longer be powerful and exalted. The mighty kings will at that time be destroyed and given into the hands of the righteous and the holy." Verse Enoch 38:4-5. The word translated righteous in verse 2 pivots on the Ge'ez term tzaddik. It can mean abstract righteousness, or it can be a title, the righteous one. Nicholsburg, Nib, and Charles all favor the personal reading. This is not a concept appearing, this is a figure. And when he appears, the dwelling of sinners is denied, not a house, a power structure, a dominion arrangement, and it is not conquered by armies, it is dissolved by light. The mechanism is illumination, not insurrection. If Enoch 38 tells us what happens, Joel chapter 2 tells us how. Joel describes an army unlike any other in Scripture. They do not thrust one another. Each one walks in his own highway. They rush through the weapons and are not cut off. Joel 2:8. The Hebrew word for highway here is masilah, and it does not mean a dirt path. It comes from the root salal, meaning to build up, to cast up a raised highway. These are pre-constructed, elevated thoroughfares. The same word appears in Judges chapter 5 for the courses of the stars. The stars in their Masilidum fought against Sisera. Stars fight from their ordained orbital trajectories. Joel's warriors march in divinely pre-built paths. No agent displaces another. No agent is impeded by the enemy's defenses. They rush through the weapons and are not cut off. And Joel chapter 2 verse 11 removes all ambiguity about whose army this is. Yahweh utters his voice before his army, for his camp is exceedingly great. Joel 2:11. This is God's personally dispatched force, each agent walking a raised, preordained highway that is his alone. The prophet Zechariah was shown 4 horns, the powers that scattered Judah, Israel, and Jerusalem. But then God showed him 4 cherashim, 4 craftsmen, sent to terrify and cast down every horn. The Hebrew word kerash, spelled chet resh shin, carries a semantic range that is nothing short of extraordinary. It means to engrave, to fabricate, to devise, and also, remarkably, to be silent, to hold one's peace. God's agents are simultaneously builders and silent operators. They work without announcing themselves. The Talmud identifies these 4 cherashim as Messiah ben David, Messiah ben Joseph, Elijah, and the righteous priest. All eschatological figures, not earthly kingdoms, divine agents. Now watch the linguistic connection. The cherashim of Zechariah chapter 1 are agents who engrave and shape. Then in Zechariah chapter 3 verse 9, YHWH himself performs the ultimate act of engraving. Behold the stone which I have set before Joshua. Upon one stone are 7 eyes. Behold, I am engraving its engraving, declares YHWH of hosts, and I will remove the iniquity of that land in one day. Zechariah 3:9. The doubled Hebrew phrase pituach patucha is a cognate accusative intensifier. It means YHWH himself performs the engraving work with thoroughness and completeness. He is the master Karash. And what does he engrave? A stone with 7 eyes.
All right, let's get into the heart of this. Today, we're diving into really fascinating subjects. They propose something quite extraordinary. That the Bible, well, it might contain hidden sequences, non-random sequences of...
The 7 eyes of Zechariah 3:9 connect to Zechariah 4:10. These 7 are the eyes of YHWH that range through the whole earth, and consummate in Revelation chapter 5, where the Lamb bears 7 horns and 7 eyes, which are the 7 spirits of God sent into all the earth. These are not instruments of surveillance. They are instruments of divine governance and support. 2 Chronicles 16:9 specifies their function. The eyes of YHWH run to and fro throughout the whole earth to show himself strong on behalf of those whose heart is perfect toward him. They seek out the faithful in order to empower them. Now consider, after the Babylonian exile, Ezra chapter 2 records that the priesthood awaited a priest with Urim and Thummim. The oracle stones were lost. And it was in that same post-exilic period that Zechariah received his vision of a new stone before the high priest, with YHWH himself as the engraver. The 7-eyed stone is the eschatological reconstitution of the Urim and Thummim, the priestly oracle system restored not through human recovery, but through divine re-engraving. The master Karash builds what the horns could never destroy. Before the engravers can work, the instruments must be purified. Isaiah chapter 6 and Zechariah chapter 3 describe parallel purification events. One prophetic, one priestly. Isaiah's defilement was at the lips, the organ of prophetic speech. A seraph took a burning coal from the altar and touched it to his mouth. The declaration followed, "Your iniquity is taken away, your sin is purged." Then flew one of the seraphim to me, having a live coal in his hand that he had taken with the tongs from off the altar. And he laid it upon my mouth and said, "Lo, this has touched your lips, and your depravity is taken away, and your sin is covered." Isaiah 6:6-7. Joshua's defilement was at the garments, the vestments of priestly standing. The angel of YHWH commanded their removal and replacement, declaring, "See, I have caused your iniquity to pass from you." Both scenes share identical vocabulary. The same Hebrew word for iniquity removed. Both occur in the heavenly court. Both culminate in commissioning for service, and both connect to the same phrase in Zechariah 3:9. I will remove the iniquity of that land in one day. The coal inscribes purification on the lips. The divine engraving inscribes purpose on the stone. Both involve heat. Both involve pressure, and both prepare the instrument for what comes next. The Hebrew word Segullah appears 8 times in Scripture. Its root conveys something closely guarded, locked away, stored in a vault. The Akkadian cognate means valued property to which one has an exclusive right of possession. When applied to God's people, Segullah signifies the King of the universe's personal, most valued treasure, not subjects, jewels. Malachi chapter 3 verse 17 delivers the eschatological deployment. "They shall be mine," says YHWH of hosts, "in that day when I make up my Segullah." Malachi 3:17. The verb make up means to actively constitute, assemble, and publicly declare. And the context is unmistakable. The Segullah assembly and the judgment of the arrogant happen simultaneously. As the horns fall, the treasure rises. As the mighty lose their dwelling, the treasured possession is assembled. The compensation flows from the dismantling. Joel 2:25 promises God will restore the very years the locust consumed. Isaiah 61 declares a double portion instead of shame. Proverbs 13:22 states, "The wealth of the sinner is stored up for the righteous." The sinner functions as an unconscious steward, accumulating resources that transfer at the appointed time. The pattern is consistent across every biblical instance. At the Exodus, the Segullah is constituted as Egyptian power drowns. In the post-exilic return, the Segullah rebuilds as Babylon falls. In Malachi's vision, the Segullah is assembled on the precise day the arrogant burn as stubble. The compensation comes from the dismantling. It is not a separate event. It is the same event viewed from the beneficiary's perspective. 5 prophets, 3 languages, 1 operation. Phase 1. Cognitive disarmament. Obadiah predicts, YHWH will destroy the wise men out of Edom. Before any structure falls, the enemy's capacity for strategic thought is removed. Phase 2. Structural dismantling. The Cherashim execute the fraying. Joel's army marches in pre-built highways. Each agent addresses his assigned target. They are silent. They cannot be stopped. Phase 3. Purification. The coal and the garments. The instruments of service are prepared by fire and investiture. Phase 4. Assembly. YHWH makes up his Segullah. The scroll of remembrance is opened. The treasured possession is publicly constituted. Phase 5. Dominion transfer. Daniel's stone cut without hands fills the earth. Enoch's righteous inherit what the mighty accumulated. The 7-eyed stone validates the transition as the reconstituted oracle of the Most High. The Segullah does not merely survive the transition. It constitutes the new governance. The Cherashim do not merely destroy. They engrave, inscribing divine purpose where the horns inscribed oppression. And the righteous one does not merely appear, he illuminates. And in that light, the dwelling places of the mighty simply cease to exist.